Good evening. Welcome to the East Islip Junior Parent Orientation. This presentation is going to set up a roadmap for the next 2 years for student graduation and student college admission. I now introduce Mr. Bowler and Ms. Salvaggio. They're going to take over from here. Have a wonderful evening.
Hello. Welcome to the Junior Parent Orientation. We have a couple of things to go over with you tonight that is going to be important for your kids to know for the next couple of years. So I'm actually going to shift this way, so that way it's easier to see. Okay, so our first slide is about graduation requirements. Before your child leaves here, there are certain classes that they need to take. They'll need 4 years, whether it's a Regents Diploma or an Advanced Regents Diploma. They'll need 4 years of English, 4 years of Social Studies, 3 years of Math, 3 years of Science, and depending on if they're getting an Advanced Regents Diploma or a regular Regents, they'll need either 1 year or 3 years of a foreign language. Art or music credit, 1 credit, half a credit of health, 2 credits of PE. So depending on how many years they've taken with their language, they'll either have 18.5 or 20.5 credits, and they will need to fill in with elective credits for another 1.5 to 3.5 credits. Most children will graduate way beyond the 22 credits, and we track your child every year to make sure they have what they need, but this is the basics that they need to get out of high school. In addition to the classes they need, they also need a certain amount of Regents exams. Again, the Regents Diploma and the Advanced Regents Diploma, there are some differences. English is a requirement for both. 1 Math Regents is a requirement for the regular Regents Diploma, and 3 are required for the Advanced Regents Diploma. Global Studies, U.S. History for both, and then for Science, it's 1 Science Regents for a regular Regents Diploma, or 2 for the Advanced Regents Diploma. So if your child is going to get the Advanced Regents Diploma, they will need additional 2 Math Regents and an additional 1 Science. In addition to that, they'll need the World Language FLACS B exam. So if they are taking English, they are taking Spanish, French, Italian, or American Sign Language, they will need that exam at the end of the 3rd year to get that credit. Just so everyone knows, the classes that your child is taking are college preparatory classes. They do meet requirements that the colleges are looking for. So if a college says they need 4 years of college preparatory English, they will have it throughout their course in high school. The multiple pathways for graduation. So typically each child will graduate with the Regents that we showed on the page before. However, sometimes students might not be successful in one Regents or another, so basically you can substitute some of those Regents exams in order to get them out of high school on time. So every student's going to be required to have the English Regents, 1 Math Regents, 1 Science, and 1 Social Studies. So depending on the U.S. History or the Global, if your child didn't do that well in one or the other, they do have the opportunity to substitute some of those other Regents exams. So if they've taken another Science exam, they can substitute that for the 5th Regents that they need to get out of high school. Again, most of your children will have all of these requirements done and settled by the time they're entering 12th grade, and we mark and make sure, and if we're looking at one of these for your child, we will talk to you and discuss the pathway that we see would be best for them. Mastery. In addition to the diploma, on the diplomas, there are other notations that your child can get. They can get a Mastery in Math or a Mastery in Science in addition on their diploma. A Mastery in Math simply means that your child has taken 3 Math Regents exams and scored an 85 or better on all 3 of those. A Mastery in Science means your child has taken 3 Science exams and scored 85 or better on those. If they've done all 6, then they get Mastery in both Math and Science. If your child has taken a Math Regents and scored an 84 or a little bit under that 85 and they wish to retake it, you have to reach out to the counselor and let them know. In addition to that, last year when the children did not get to sit for the Regents exams. They all got E's on their transcript. If you check your child's transcript, you'll see an E in that on their transcript, and it means they were exempt. Those exemptions give them credit. So if your child had the algebra regents, the geometry regents, and was exempt from the algebra 2 regents, and they scored an 85 or higher on the algebra and the geometry, they will get credit for that. So that basically stands. So if your child wishes to retake any of those regents exams to get mastery, you need to let the counselor know. Official transcript. Every child has a transcript that notates anything from 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. Right now they're working on 11th grade, so their transcript would be 9th and 10th. Anything in 8th grade on a high school level. So their language would be there, their 8th grade language. Any accelerated classes they took would also be there. So their transcript can always be found in the portal under in their backpack. There's always an updated transcript. If you ever need a copy for anything, you can always print it out from there. Senior year. Senior year is very important. Back out it so you can see it. Colleges will look to see that your child continues to challenge themselves next year. So you want to make sure that even though they're only required to take 3 years of math or 3 years of science, that they continue to take that 4th year. With language, they continue to take that 4th year in all their subject areas, because we want them to be prepared for college. We want them to be in a good position when they're applying for colleges, and colleges want to see in their senior year that they continue to challenge themselves and take the classes beyond what is recommended for graduation. Testing. The PSAT is being given this year in school. It's going to be 2 separate dates, October 14th for cohort 1 and October 29th for cohort 2. This is your child's chance to come into school, sit down, and actually take a practice ACT. So they'll take the PSAT that day in lieu of going to classes, and they will get back the results, and from those results they will practice for taking the SAT and the ACT. So the SAT, those tests are given throughout the year, but for our juniors, we recommend taking them in the springtime. So May and June are very popular. We actually offer May and June here in the high school. So given that everything remains the same and we're open and we're functioning, we will have that May and June available to them. The ACT is also available. We offer it in June here in the high school. Your child can take these exams anytime they like. You have to register for them. So there are, if you go to the high school webpage, under the guidance link, there are connections to link to the College Board, which is the maker of the SAT, and to ACT, which is the maker of the ACT. And through there, you would actually apply to, you would register to take these exams. East Islip High School Guidance Department calendar of events. You will have, this presentation will be available to you in the high school webpage, and you can click on here and it will give you important links of things going on throughout the year that are important for your child related to anything going on with guidance. Test registration. So I touched on this a little bit before, but the SAT, the College Board, and the ACT, they are the makers of these exams, and you would register right to them right on those websites, and you basically put in that you want to take the test here in the high school. It will tell you what dates it's running, and you register right online. We do recommend getting your child registered early. Sometimes the students do get locked out of their first choice, and we don't want to see that. So you can go on now and register them for the spring. If for whatever reason they're not being offered, or the location is shut down, they will look to get you in an alternate location, or they will look to transfer your money to the next available test. So definitely register early. Students are required to upload a photo when registering. Make sure that your child has a nice photo online that they can upload, because now with everything going on with security, you want a nice clean picture of your child so there's no questions there. If you're eligible for free and reduced lunch, for the free and reduced lunch program, We can offer fee waivers for both the SAT and the ACT. So reach out to your child's guidance counselor and we can get you that information. SAT and ACT prep. So every year we've always offered classes. Last year our classes were canceled due to the COVID-19. We're hoping this year to have classes available again for the students to participate in. But there are classes that are offered, if not through the high school, sometimes the library has them, and there are other institutions that have them as well. So we do recommend your child taking some sort of prep. So it could be a class. There's private instruction, you can have tutoring. Some kids do better with that. There's online classes, so you can look to take an online class if your child does good with that. So there's a lot of different options. There's also free online prep through their Castle Learning account. If they go in through their class links, they can be linked up to that, which is pretty good. And then the guidance website will also have any updated information we have on any local programs that are running classes or any type of test prep. Beyond the classroom. So basically, we want your child to be in the best position possible when they are applying to school. So doing things outside of academics, colleges love to see that. And it also gives your child the opportunity to get involved in other things that they might not get involved with just strictly in the classroom. So it's a great opportunity to meet new people. It gives great leadership experience. A lot of times kids will join a club and then they'll work their way on up to president or treasurer, and it gives them an opportunity to be in a leadership role. Colleges love to see that. Learning their likes and dislikes. This is huge. A lot of kids will go off to college thinking they want to study one thing and they'll wind up changing along the way, only because they haven't had experience in certain things. So this is a way to give your child the ability to experience certain things and try certain things out, and find out if they like it, if they didn't, what they did or didn't like about it, and it helps them to figure out who they are and what they like and what they might like to become as they get older. Many scholarships also have a volunteer component, so getting involved will also help with scholarships in the future. And it's not necessary to take on a whole bunch of different clubs and do a whole bunch of different things. 1 or 2 areas is fine. Colleges like to see that you're putting in quality time, not that you're trying out a million different things and just trying to get a lot of stuff on your resume. So really think about what your child might like to join and have them try and participate in that and really kind of immerse themselves and get to learn about that.
Yes, Rihanna.
Okay, so I am going to step out of view. I'm going to give Mr. Buller the floor, and we're gonna continue on.
Thank you, Mrs. Salvaggio. Thank you guys for watching this presentation. We really appreciate it. We'll say we're definitely going through some unique times, but the Student Support Center is here to support you and your children throughout the whole college application process. Post-secondary plans straight through until the time that they graduate next year in 2022. So great days ahead, guys. Just want to touch on a new program that you probably heard of. I know Mr. Stanton, our director, has been sending out information for the Suffolk Community College Early College Program. We used to partner with them years ago, and now we're back. Great opportunity for students to kind of get a litmus test on what college life is like, how those college classes are structured. And let's be honest, for a course of $57 a credit, that's a great deal and a great opportunity for our kids. I know for the spring semester, enrollment is closed, but information will come out for the summer and for the fall. So just, if you don't have your Student Square or your Parent Square app, we switched over to that from Remind, so that's where a lot of the information is going to go out. In order for students to be eligible, you have to have at least an unweighted GPA of an 85 or higher. Like Mrs. Albaggio said, you could find that information on the campus backpack. You can view your student's transcript right through there. It'll show the weighted and the unweighted GPA. A student has to have an unweighted GPA of 85 and at least an 85 or higher on one Regents exam. When you view this presentation on the guidance link, you'll click right here and that'll take you right to Suffolk's webpage. College admissions and social media. This slide should say it all. We hope that you show this portion of the presentation to your children. Just know the counselors do as well when we present to our juniors. Actually every grade level. This is an important slide, and I'm sure the adults understand that and get that. Sometimes students don't, right? It's a new world with social media that we're in. Sometimes students, we know TikTok is the new app that's out there, and a lot of students are posting videos and they don't even know where that's being sent or who's viewing them. Years ago, when we were applying to colleges, they didn't have somebody in the admissions office whose only job was to friend request through social media. Now they actually have that, all right? So your child will get a friend request, you know, from Stony Brook, and now all of a sudden the admissions counselor has access to view what your child's posting. So please share this information with your child, this portion of the presentation. Give an example. One of my students 2 years ago, very talented, we're posting on YouTube. He did a lot of YouTube videos, his editing was amazing. Very, very talented young man. Unfortunately, when the application process came up, the schools loved his talent, you know, what he posted. However, where he kind of got himself into a little hot water was the comment section. And he wasn't too professional in the comment section. All right, so there's a talent there, you know, but being a 17-year-old young man, didn't realize who was viewing the comments. All right, so in regards to the college admissions process, and even more importantly, just work, and if you're applying for a job, you want to make sure your child is using good judgment with this feature. NCAA, any student athletes who are interested in participating in Division I or Division II, not Division III, Division I or Division II, they have to make sure that they register with the Eligibility Center. The website is right here. Ms. Pignataro is our NCAA liaison, so sometimes we'll have students or parents, they might be worried about their child's GPA and if they would qualify to participate for the fall sport or the spring sport when they attend college. We actually have a worksheet that we could fill out that'll actually show all the classes that your child took and what type of grades that they would need to get to clear. Any questions? Ms. Pignataro is our liaison. She does a great job with that. If your child has not registered yet, it doesn't take long. You're just going to list East Islip High School. So Ms. Pignataro can send an initial transcript to the Eligibility Center, and when the time comes, the student would send their SAT or ACT scores. College search. You're going to hear this a lot right now. Time is on your side. But just like junior year snuck up quick, I have a second grader and a kindergartner. They're a class of 2031 and class of 2033. And in a blink of an eye, I'm going to be seeing a presentation like this when they're juniors. So even though time is on your side with the college application process and post-secondary plans, next September will sneak up rather quickly, and we want to make sure we have a nice plan in place for your seniors. Counselors, we have every senior down in the library, the computer lab, in September, and we kind of hit the ground running with our seniors. So for the purpose of this presentation is to really get juniors to start thinking about a plan. So when they do come back as seniors, they're not overwhelmed. They know exactly what to expect. They work with their counselor. We organize all their applications and just have a nice plan in place. But as far as college searches go, yes, it is overwhelming. You'll see there's over 4,000 colleges out there, vocational schools, technical schools. It all starts with a simple college search. So if you're on Naviance, or if you're logged in through College Board, we always say cross-reference, use both websites. When you're on there, let's say you're selecting a specific school, a region, you'll see a bunch of questions on the left-hand side when you're doing the college search. The more questions you answer, the more it narrows down a list of schools from you. So initially starts with feeling overwhelmed. I got over 4,000 colleges. You answer some questions on what you're looking for in a school, and now all of a sudden you have a list of 25 schools. All right, so that's a good starting point right now, making sure that your child's on College Board and Naviance and doing the college search through there. Obviously, we're in unique times. Some schools are doing visits, one-on-one, small groups, social distancing. Other schools are letting you at least drive through the school, you know, because you want to, it's hard to get a good feel when you're looking on the computer. You kind of want to get your feet on that campus, and we do understand that. So check with the school's website. Every college is different on what they're allowing. What we're working on right now, and this is going to be important, is to get your child into a habit of really logging into Naviance. Once we have the cameras set up in our computer lab in the Student Support Center, where we're located, students will have the opportunity to log in for a virtual visit. All right, so what they would see is a list of all the colleges who used to come, you know, and visit. All right, and it's just for this year. You know, we've got to be optimistic. So what we're going to switch over for those schools, we're going to do it virtual. So your child could, if they see Stony Brook is here October 15th at 9 o'clock, whether you're in school with your cohort or you're out of school, you should be able to click on that and view that virtual visit. All right. And as far as family vacations, definitely take advantage of those. You know, this goes into planning, especially with the upcoming summer. If you have a traditional family vacation that you take every year, take a look at some of the schools that are in a surrounding area. As far as attending college fairs, I know Mr. Stanton sent information out through Parent Square, again for the virtual college fair. And our favorite is our junior conference with your counselor that I'm going to go over in a little bit. Naviance. This is important. You know, your counselors every year, you know, when we're meeting with students in the computer lab, you know, it's the follow through afterwards. You know, we make sure we get them every single year starting in middle school, where we force them to log in. We do a career component, we do a college component. They have their resume posted right in there, and then they don't log in. And we could see afterwards, you know, when they log in or don't log in. So we want to make sure, especially now that it's junior year, that the student gets into a habit. I know with all the Google Classrooms that they have, we want to make sure there's a healthy balance here. We don't want to add another layer with all of the Naviance, you know, because we put ourselves in the student's shoes and we get it. But if they slowly just chip away, log in here and there, all right, when they come back as a senior, they're not going to feel as overwhelmed. All right, so as far as logging in, you'll see right here, when you go to the high school website, that arrow is pointing to class link. All right, so you're going to click on that, and then it's a single user login. All right, we get emails from students saying my Naviance password doesn't work. Once the student is logged in using their EI school's email and their password, they just click on class link. You're not putting in another password, and it'll take you right to this website right here with all their apps, and you'll see Naviance student. This is the home page. So when the student logs into Naviance, there are so many great features that are in here in Naviance that we want you guys to take advantage of. So you'll see on the top, you have the home screen. These are colleges that you're thinking about. It doesn't mean that the student's actually applying to a school. It's just schools that I'm thinking about, careers that I'm thinking about. We have career interest profiles that we had students complete. Great features in there. It's not like the old school career interest profiles that we did where it says you're going to be a farmer or a rancher. This is tied in with Department of Labor, all right? And you can actually see there's a feature on here called Road Trip Nation, where you'll actually be able to, you know, instead of looking at a specific career and you have no idea what that career is, you'll actually be able to see a video on professionals in that field. And what's most important, what a lot of kids love seeing, they like the feature, is it gives you a great job outlook over the next 10 years. And there's a feature on there that shows average wages, how much you make for that career on every single state. All right, so great features in Naviance. This is the home screen. And when you click on About Me, we want our students, you know, make sure after you see this presentation when you're talking to your child, this is where they're going to put all their information for their resume. All right, so we could always go back and edit it when they're a senior. You know, so for right now, if a student hasn't, you know, we have them in the computer lab and they start working on it. But you might want to ask your child, hey, have you updated your resume? So at least you have an idea where they stand. Another great feature in Naviance is the Scattergrams. So you'll see for right here, Stony Brook, this gives you a baseline of the average GPA and the average SAT or ACT score, and all this information here, this data is great information, great data. These are our students over the years. So you'll see the little green check, those are students who were accepted. You'll see the little purple circle, those are students who were waitlisted, and then you see the red X, those are students who were not accepted. And then your child is going to be a little blue head, all right? So that's their SAT, ACTs, GPA. We always tell the students there's more to you than just an SAT, an ACT, a GPA. And this is where you can really reinforce that. When we have them in the computer lab, look at these students who were accepted to Stony Brook, who were well below the GPA and the SAT score. And we asked the students, well, why do you think they were accepted? Right? They did a great job writing their essay for the admissions as seniors. That resume section that we just spoke about, they just don't have one or two things listed in there. There's a lot more to that student. Even though it's virtual visits, they took part in the virtual visit. They actually emailed that admissions counselor and started communicating, networking with that admissions counselor. So there's proof right here. You could show your child. We never want kids to look at a school's profile and just say, I'm not going to apply, I don't have the grades. Here's proof right here that you can be accepted to those schools without having that high SAT, that high ACT, or GPA. When choosing a college, what to consider, right? Going back to that scattergram right over here, it's selectivity, all right? It's always nice to have, you might hear terms of target, reach, and safe schools. We don't want our kids putting all their eggs in one basket. I have a senior right now. She says this is the only school that I'm applying to, and we're working on that. I know she loves that school. She's probably going to have a good opportunity, but we would usually recommend 4 to 7 schools, all right, when applying senior year. Location, what are you comfortable with? I used to be a resident assistant in charge of the dorms at Stony Brook. I would have great kids every year who would attend Stony Brook, and if you saw them in the hallway in the dorms, they just didn't seem happy. I mean, you would ask them, well, why did you pick Stony Brook? Well, they got great programs. Yeah, we know Stony Brook has great programs, but it was the right fit for you. The good news is, students don't have to make a final decision on what they want to do after high school, and it's going to sound far away, but this is the deadline. It's going to be May 1st, 2022. That's decision day. Where do you want your final transcript sent after you graduate East Islip High School? So there's time to figure out, what the student's comfortable with, the size of the school. Do you like the larger classes? Do you like a smaller setting? I have a student, she just graduated last year. She's at St. Joseph's, absolutely loves it. She likes the smaller class size. It's more like a family over there. And most importantly, you want to make sure you have the right major there. All right, kids do change their mind, and you don't want to go to school saying I'm going to major in business, and all of a sudden you fall in love with the psychology class that you took and you want to major in psychology, and then you find that that school only offers it as a minor. Extracurriculars, what do they offer on campus? And then most importantly is the cost. We will say, don't shy away from those high price tag private schools. They're like separate banks. They have more monies that they could allocate in scholarships. And as it's leading up to May of 2022, more often than not, you'll find that that private school actually brings the cost down to a SUNY school. Just keep that in mind when you're having all those conversations that are coming down the pike with the whole college application process. Junior conference. So this, just starting out junior year right now, this is why we're having this presentation, to get you guys some great information. And now we know every child is different. Everyone takes a different path out of here. Some do a 2-year school, some do a 4-year school, we have military, we have trade school, we have kids that go to work. Everybody takes a different path out of here. So we'll discuss that, you'll discuss that with your child's counselor. All right, those meetings will start up in December. All right, and you'll see right here, which is most important, because we're in these unique times, and we have cohorts that are in the building. We want to make sure that we're being fair and available for you and your child. So this year we're going to be conducting them through Google Meet or telephone conference, whichever you're comfortable with. And we're just going to ask that you contact your child's counselor to kind of come up with a plan on how you want to do that. And just as an example, we might have junior conferences where the student's in my office, I have my mask on, student has the mask on, and the parent is on a Google Meet viewing the meeting. We might have a junior conference where the parent's at home with their child, and the counselor's on the Google Meet, or it might be a phone conference, all right? So when we start having those meetings in December, just contact your child's counselor to figure out what type of plan works best for your family. Guidance website, we've referenced this plenty of times throughout this presentation. There's a lot of helpful information on our website. Just referencing an example that comes up every year with the resume section in Naviance. I can't say how many times we tell the students, well, did you go on the guidance website? Because they want to add to their resume and they're looking for places to volunteer. And we ask the students, well, did you go on the guidance website? Because there's actually, when you click on it, there's a link for volunteer-related websites. And the students always say, oh, I didn't realize that was there. All right, so definitely get on the guidance website. There's a lot of helpful information and links that you'll find will answer a lot of your questions. Great resources there. Parent Squares is something new that we transitioned over to this year. We had the Remind, a lot of you are familiar with Remind. We did switch over to Parent Square. There's a lot of great features here. If you have not downloaded this app, please do so as far as communication, because I know there's a lot of information that the school sends out. We want to make sure you're receiving all that. What I love about this, especially for the students, just as an example, we just had all the seniors in the library, and there's a Student Square app. And because that question comes up, how can we, arrange an appointment to go over my applications? We tell the students, we just spent the whole week working with the seniors, download the Student Square app, and it's basically the student gets a push notification. So when their cohort's here, or if they're at home and we want to arrange a Google Meet, they would just send us a message, and we set up an appointment. We see the child's free 7th period. And then we'll schedule an appointment for that time. All right, so if you haven't done so already, please download the Parent Square and the Student Square app. I know Mrs. Whiteman, she works with our scholarships. She's actually sending out scholarships, all right? So if you're a junior or senior, it's great to have that information, and it all starts with making sure you have the Student Square and the Parent Square app. Okay, this takes us to the end of the presentation. I know Mrs. Salvaggio slided me a note, just something to discuss. As far as just checking with your counselors, you should know who your child's counselor is. Mrs. Sachs, if your last name is A through C. Mr. Bowler, that's me, that's D through H. Mrs. Salvaggio is I through MI. Mrs. Whiteman is MO to RI. Ms. Pignataro is RO through Z. What I would say, great point, Ms. Salvaggio, as far as the scholarships go, all right? We were telling the seniors, all right, and your child's a junior, there's legwork that has to go into it, all right? When you go on College Board's website and you go on Naviance's website, great information as far as scholarships go. There's another website when you click on the guidance department link, there's FastWeb, all right, where a student would set up a profile and they email you scholarship opportunities. We have the Student Square that Mrs. Whiteman's going to be sending out scholarships. And then eventually when your child is a senior, you'll notice on the high school website, on the bottom left, it says local scholarships. Students can't apply for that junior year, but when your child is a senior, usually that link opens up around December, January, and the deadlines are early April, and that's where the whole senior class submits applications and essays for the local scholarships, all right? But again, a lot of great information that's out there. Please have your child and yourself click on the guidance department link. Let's get into a habit of really utilizing the Naviance app, which is great, and make sure that your child sees this if they have any questions, or you feel free to contact us anytime. All right, thank you so much, guys. We're going to get through this unique year together. We'll be here to support you. Good night.